Vansi Vibhusitakara Navanirdabha Pitambara Darunabimbapala Darostha Purnendu Sundaramukha Arvinda Netra Krishna Param Kimapi Tattvamaham na jane Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Divine souls, Jai Sri Krishna, Jai Gurudev. Last week, we were trying to go through this verse 2 of chapter 5, wherein Bhagwan is replying to Arjuna's question, which posed in verse 1 of chapter 5. Bhagwan says, Sannyasah karmana karma yogascha nisreyasa karavubhau tayostu karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. You will note that in his reply, Bhagwan is making a statement and giving reply to Arjuna's question in the second half. The first half is his statement, and second half is reply to Arjuna's question. If you recall, Arjuna also in verse 1 makes one statement and followed by a question. The statement is, Bhagwan, you praise both karma sannyasa and yoga, both of them you praise. Sannyasam karmanam Krishna punar yogam cha samsasi. You are praising both. This is the statement which Arjuna makes, and then he follows that with question. Yat shreyas etayorekam tanme bruhi sunischitam. Please tell me one that is Shreya for me, जो हमारे लिए कल्याणकारी है. That please decisively tell me that. So there is a statement and a question. In reply, Bhagwan also makes a statement and then replies to Arjuna's question. His statement is, yes, Arjuna, what you said is correct. Sannyasah karma yogascha nisreyasa kara ubhau. Both of them. Ubhau, nisreya, that is sreya, both of them. As you said, I have praised both of them. But if you ask me the question, which of the two is Shreya for you, then tayostu, of the two, karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. Of the two, between the yoga of action and yoga of renunciation, definitely yoga of action is superior to renunciation. Since this is the reply given by Bhagwan through this verse. Now see, last week I tried to go through defining terms which are often used throughout the Gita and specifically in this chapter. And these words I had tried to explain last week. Let me, since I have got more time, I can take a little more time to explain this, because these are very important aspects. We have to take into consideration, considering what I am doing, what is being done by me, what is right for me to do, and what is wrong for me to do. Well, this is the most important thing which a sadhaka, a devotee, a bhakta, whoever is in the path of spirituality has to clearly have this in mind. When we get up, as I said last week also, when I get up in the morning, prepare ourselves to go to the office. If you are an office goer, well, you put on you take your breakfast, you put on your socks and shoes and pick up the key, and then you walk to the garage and you start your key. All these things while you are performing, maybe your mind is stuck at the office, that after reaching my office, which file I will pick up, what will the schedule I have to follow. All those things are going on in your mind while you are taking your breakfast and putting on your shoes and taking up the key and all these things. So, in the process, whatever you have done, those are the karya which you have performed. Those are karya, they are not karma. Karma is defined as those activities in which mind is involved. If mind is not involved, that action is not karma. That is an activity you performing. So, the consequence is that if you are performing karma with a mind associated, then depending upon what you perform, right or wrong, you will have the merit or demerit associated with. You are then responsible for having merit if you have done a good job, or for demerit if you have done the wrong job. This has to be understood. We have to perform action, that is karma. But then, among the karma, what is karma yoga? Karma yoga are only those actions which you perform which will lead you towards spirituality higher up. It will add on to the spiritual, wash off your vasana and help you in striving towards perfection. That is to unity with Brahma. That is upward scales you move. That is karma yoga. But then there is karma sannyasa. This is a different kettle of fish. You have to understand the difference between karma yoga and karma sannyasa. Karma sannyasa is at a higher pedestal. Karma yoga and then karma sannyasa. The pedestal is high. Step 1 and step 2. Now, karma sannyasa can be taken ordinarily. What we ordinarily speak of karma sannyasa? Well, somebody suddenly decides, no, I had enough in the house. This is binding me. I'm not getting anywhere. I want to have some spiritual, I have some spiritual activity to perform. And दिन रात हम घर के कामों में लगे रहते हैं. हम घर के कामों से विरक्त होकर के, let me find some time, with more time to do bhajan, kirtan, puja, path, aarti, sandhya, reading scriptures and all these things. Suddenly it comes to the mind that those activity, and that for that I must give up the household functions, must get away from the house, leave the home and be at a place where I will have all these things going on. This is the ordinary concept of what is called sannyasa. And also varna ashram, you have got the brahmacharya, grihastha ashram, vanaprastha and sannyas. Normally people take it जो गृहस्थ हैं वे भी देखते हैं कि ठीक है, इतना मैंने कर लिया, अब बच्चे लोग घर संभालेंगे, मैं तो चला संन्यास को. That is the ordinary concept. But what does Gita teach? What is sannyasa according to the Gita? Gita says, anashritah karma phalam karjam karma karoti yah sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragna chakriyah. वह सन्यासी है जो अनाश्रितः कर्म फलम कार्यम कर्म करोति. वह कर्म करता है, he performs the duty without having dependence on the fruit of the action. This is one of the definitions which Bhagawad has given in chapter 6 verse 1. In this case, there is no need to leave house. If you are performing any karma, if you are not getting associated with this activity or action, or if you are not hankering after the fruit of the action, that means you are performing action with no kartritva bhavana, no bhoktritya bhavana, you are a sannyasi. You have done karma sannyas. For karma sannyasa, if you are performing action, either or both, kartabya hinata, akartabyata, no ownership of action. You are not performing action. That is a higher level of thinking. And the other is bhoktritva, whatever actions you have performed, there will be result. But your eye is not on the fruit of the action. The other thing is in practice what is happening, I also mentioned last week, that in Buddhism and Jainism, there is a kind of monastery kind of system where at a younger age, they are doctrined to move towards monastery and get a different kind of education. They move in different direction, and that is all dedicated towards spiritual activity, and they are trained to go to that direction. That is not so much in Sikhism, Islam, and Christianity. Among us, of course, we have the way where those who are at a higher level, who have already got rid of the vasanas, or they are born in a society, in a family of yogis or munis, sages, and in the past life they had very little vasana to wash off. Prapya punkritam lokam usita swasasate sama kuchiram srimatam gehe yoga bhrasto vijayate. You recall in chapter 6, from verse 37 to verse 42, Arjuna asks question, Ayati saddhayo peto yoga acharita manasa prapya punkritam loka. What happens to the person if while going through the path of spiritual yoga, if he doesn't accomplish the yoga siddhi, if he doesn't accomplish yoga siddhi, what happens to him if he doesn't complete his yoga sadhana and falls into the path of sansara? If he संसार में चला आता, अगर उसे सिद्धि प्राप्त नहीं होती है, अगर सिद्धि प्राप्त ना होकर के अगर वो संसार में चलाता है, तो वो तो न घर का रहा न घाट का, उसका क्या होता है? अयति सद्योपेतो योगाचरित मानसः अप्राप्य योग संसिद्धि काम गतिम कृष्ण गच्छति. फिर उसका गति क्या होता है भगवान, ये बताइए. तो भगवान ने कहा कि पहले बात तो बताया कि जो इस रास्ते पर है, न ही कल्याण कृत कश्चित दुर्गतिम तात गच्छति, उसकी दुर्गति कभी नहीं होती है. उसने पूर्व जन्म में जो अर्न कर लिया, whatever he has earned in the path of spirituality, while following the path of yoga, karma yoga, whatever he has accomplished, If he has not attained Siddhi, yet that is passed on to this following birth. And several things can happen. Two things he very clearly has mentioned. Prapya punyakritam lokam usitva shaswati sama suchinam srimatam gehe yoga bhrasto vijayate. That person who has fallen from his yoga, who could not attain perfection in that life, he is born to a family of Suchinam Srimatam, those who are highly blessed in yogi, in the family of good people, a level where people are more spiritually oriented. To that family he is born. Athva yoginam eva kule bhavati dhimatam etaddi durlavataram loke janma yaditrisam. These kind of people are very, very rare. That if that person takes rebirth, then he goes into this stage of Jivan Mukta Paschat. He goes into the Vidvat Sannyasa. That means for a young age, that fellow has already achieved a lot, has washed off his sin or vasana, most of them. Very little may be remaining. Like I mentioned last week, that we have Adi Shankaracharya and so many other saints, I don't want to name them. They give up the sansar and they are already Jivan Mukta. Because of his past life, he has performed all yoga and follows those paths and has reached a level that he is already a Jivan Mukta. That kind of sannyasa is called Vidvat Sannyasa. And then there are other groups of people who are, during the course of their life, they are going through education, as I mentioned, BIT, MIT, engineers, doctors, number of them, suddenly they decide, no, that I should go and devote myself. So they are sannyasi, what is called, they go for mukti. They go for self-realization. These are already realized. And then they go on to perform whatever functions they have to perform in remaining part of the life. But these are the people, they perform, they go through under the Guru, they follow the path and they get released. Now that is the situation so far our sects are concerned. Now, why did Lord say that Karma Yoga is preferred? What is there in it that Bhagavan is telling, particularly Arjuna? Arjuna is an example, and he is the one who is as representing the humanity. He says, Bhagavan says that for you, or if you ask question which of the two, first, because Karma Yoga is preferred for general mass. Those are the person I talked about earlier. This kind of person are very rare. Either in this category or in this category, the number of people are very, very rare. In general, they are the one who have got impurities, and those impurities in mind has to be got rid of. That must be purified. He must have clear and purified mind so that he follow the further path of renunciation. So the first step is to purify mind, and this is not possible without going through Karma Yoga. It is through the Karma Yoga that you have Mala, Vikshep. You have to get rid of the Mala and Vikshep, because that is the effect of on those who are performing Karma Yoga. Only then one should move to Sannyasa. And if you are avoiding sannyasa, then if you are avoiding the first step, there is a likelihood that you fail in the pursuit. And we see thousands and thousands of such people wandering here and there. They are neither ghar ke nor ghat ke. They are in somewhere the kind of life they follow, you will see that. I don't want to mention, doesn't look nice. They are also for themselves, they are trying to do something which they want, but we find them loitering here and there, and they are nowhere. Many of them just die some or other. So the reason for failure, Bhagavan gives. What is the reason why these people fail? Why it is important to do Karma Yoga? Bhagavan explains very clearly. And we have example with us. He says that Karma Sannyasa and Karma Yoga both are Shreya, but Karma Yoga is preferred because the path of Karma Sannyasa is tough, dustar, kathin. It is not so easy. Bhagavan has mentioned several places. We all remember very well Bhakti Yoga. In Bhakti Yoga also similar situation arises. When Arjuna asked the question that there are two groups of bhakta, one who perform devotion in the before the idol, which is our human form, a manifested form, and those who worship in unmanifested form, Brahma in unmanifested form. Which of the two, which is yoga vittama, who is better versed in yoga? And again, Bhagavan replies, Mayyavesh manoye mam nitya yukta upasate. That is yukta tamamataha. Those who are worshipping me in person, me, they are yukta tama. They are better devotee than those who are performing abhyaktam paripasate. Although both of them, they prapnuvanti mameva. Both of them attain me. Those who have devotion towards me as a person, and those who follow the path of unmanifested path, they both of them attain me. But what happens? The other one is more difficult, because the sadhak who has manifested Brahma or in idol form before him, he can concentrate more on that. He has better opportunity to be associated with me, then he gets to the Brahma. This path is easier. He says, Klesho dikataraste sam avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham deha vad virvapite. He clearly mentions, Arjuna, those who follow, worship the unmanifest, for them the path is difficult. Dukkha, that is hard, it is tough, it is not easy for them to concentrate on the unmanifest. So the path of devotion to manifested Lord, manifested Bhagavan is easier to follow for Deha Vadvir, for those people who are embodied souls. Those who are liberated, it is different. But those who are not embodied soul, they embodied ones, Deha Vadvir Bhapite. For them, the path of following the unmanifest is tough, is difficult, is hard. That gati is dukkham. As for the renunciation also, if you read verse 6 of chapter 5, again here mentioned, Sanyasastu mahabhavo dukkhamaptuma yogata yoga yukto munir brahma nachire nadhigachati. He says, dukkham aptu yogataha. For those who are following the path of renunciation, hard to attain without karma yoga. So see, he has mentioned that for, if you are asking the question, which of the two paths is Shreya for you, I will tell you the path of action Karma Yoga is superior to Karma Sannyasa because it is hard to attain renunciation, hard to follow the path of renunciation without Karma Yoga. On the other hand, Yoga harmonized says those who have followed the Karma Yoga, it quickly goes to Brahma. It is easier for him to pass the Karma Sannyasa and attain me. So that is the one which is clearly mentioned here, there. Now, let me take you to this question of tough and not tough. I have put up this slide and I have put up certain things in this slide. I would request that if you can make note of these few facts here, because if you make note of that, you may have a look at it once in a while when you have time to go through it and think about it. Try to understand what is given in this slide, what has been mentioned there, and how, while you are performing any action, while you are engaging in any action, how you can take help from these thoughts which have been put in here. Let me explain. See, there are two paths. One is the path of karma sannyasa, and the other is the karma yoga. Now, one thing is there, nobody among us will like to perform any action, any karma which is not karma yoga. That's given. We don't want to fall in trap, go do any action which is wrong, which is bad, which is going to give get demerit. Now, when we perform action, there are two ways. One is the tough way and other is the easier way. Not that tough. It is easy, but not that tough. So see why it is tough and why it is not that tough, that I'm trying to explain through this slide. See what happens. We have all talked about Sat and Asat. That in the world, everything is Asat. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate asat. So Sat and Asat. See, for general people like us, it is very hard to imagine that what we are seeing in this world is Asat. Certainly you say, this is my car, this is my house, this is my family, this is this. So this we are Sat for me. But then those who are enlightened or those who are evolved, those thinking are high, they're highly on high path. They said, संसार है ये इससे अलग रहो, इससे दूर रहो, aware from it. संसार में लिप्त नहीं होना है. संसार में लिप्त नहीं होना है, ये भाव आसान नहीं है. हम संसार में लिप्त रहते हैं, लेकिन संसार में लिप्त रहते हुए भी क्या हम अपने को उस पाथ पर ले आ सकते हैं जो हमें ऊपर की ओर ले जाएगा? Yes, that's what is karma yoga, where intake some water. Because in karma yoga, clearly Bhagavan is a karma nevadhikaraste ma phalesu kadachana. If we take that into consideration, karma, in yoga action, this thing is what? Karma phala. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phalesu kadachana. So if our attention is, okay, this is sansara and I have to perform my duty, whatever I have been given to perform, my bounden duty, my कर्तव्य कर्म तो करना है. तो कर्तव्य कर्म करके जो फल मिले उससे हमको दूर रहना है. question is, we should keep ourselves away from the results of action. If you recall in verse 8, 9, 10, 11 of chapter 12, we all know chapter 12, 8, 9, 10, 11, what Bhagwan says? He has given us 4 ways to perform action. Mayyeva man adatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya nivishasya mayyeva aturdam sasa atha chittam samadhatum na saknosi mayistram abhyasa yogena tato mamik chaptum tanaja abhyase pa samarthosi mat karmo parmo madarthapi karmani kurvan siddhim bhas athaina dab saktosi kartum madhyam sarva karma phala tyagam. Even in the path of devotion, which Bhagavan talks in 12th chapter, he has given us 4 possibilities. If you can do this, so far so good. If you cannot do this, you can do this. If you can't do this, you can do this. If you can't do this, do this. So karma phala tyaga is the least we can perform. You may not be able to concentrate on Bhagavan that much, but at least, or you may not be doing everything for Bhagavan, but you may not be having so much of practice to do it. But if you think in the mind that karma phala, not for me, I will perform and I will not look towards the effect of what I am doing. I have done my best. I have done perform my duty. This is my duty I have performed. I will not look into the results of action. If we start practicing this one, that we will not remain attached or lips to the phala of action, then you are moving ahead. Then so in Karma Yoga, Karma Nevadika has no eye on the fruit of action. That is Karma Yoga. So Bhoktritva ka abhav, we no attachment to the fruit of action. After action has been done, but you are not involved into it. So what happens? You gradually get detached from the world. The lack of attachment with the world. The more and more you perform action with no eye on the fruit of action, you will not be attached. This संसार के राग का अभाव हो जाएगा, संसार से attachment की कमी हो जाएगी. You will not be that much attached. This is the one state which is not that tough. But then there is another level, which is the renunciation of action, where the sadhas naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavit. That a kartritva ka abhav. I am not the doer. That means he considers Bhagwan की संसार की सत्ता का अभाव, संसार है नहीं. For him, this sansar is a mithya. Sansar is not existing. And this is a very big thing. One can talk a lot on this to get to that state. And this actually is the fact. Like a snake on the rope, which is a philosophy of Bhavrtravad, that you feel the presence of rope on the snake, although actually there is no snake there, it is a rope. But that is a very difficult stage, tough stage to play. But then this is a philosophy which we must understand. That person considers world to be asat, mithya. So he does not get involved, he doesn't consider himself to be the doer. There is a non-doership, bhava, akartitva bhava in him. That is the difference between the one who follows the path of action and the other follows the path of renunciation of action. So this is tough and this is not that tough. I think I will have to stop here. Other Joshi ji will say I am crossing my limit. Thank you very much. Jai Sri Krishna. Jai Gurudev. We shall continue next week.